Hey guys, today we're taking a look at the Star Wars Vintage CAP-2 Captivator. Now this mini rig was originally released as part of the Empire Strikes Back line in 1981. This version you're seeing is a slightly later 1983 box featuring the Return of the Jedi logo. The artwork on the front is exactly the same as the original Empire Strikes Back one. So the artwork on the front of the box has the pink background that's very reminiscent of the pink Snowspeeder box. We can also see that this vehicle is pretty much being sold as Bosk's vehicle. Also on the front we've got 4 stormtroopers with Darth Vader. Notice anything strange about those stormtroopers? If you look at the guns that they're carrying, those are the Hoth stormtrooper guns, not the guns that came with those figures. So something else that I found quite amusing about the front of this box. If you remember in the movie, the first time we saw Bosk and Vader together, Vader pretty much says, "Bring me Captain Solo." So what does Bosk do? He goes back to Hoth and picks up a rebel commander. So looking around the box then, on this end we've just got Captivator, little picture of Bosk riding the vehicle, and another picture of him with his head sticking out of the canopy. And pretty much the same on this side. You might have noticed this box is a European box, and more of the same on there. On this side of the flap we've got some other vehicles in the range. We've got this one, the INT4, the MTV7, the MLC3, and again it doesn't tell you what this one's called, but it's the PDT-8. On the top of the box we can just about read there Lucasfilm 1983. Now this box has got Palitoy, General Mills, and then if we look underneath it mentions Clipper, it mentions Meccano. So this one was pretty much sold all across Europe. We actually have the instructions for this one as well. We can see we've got Return of the Jedi logo on the instructions itself, so that ties this in with the right box. We've got a little line work drawing of the CAP-2 on the front there. Bad bit of yellowing on that section. Pretty much that's just telling you where all the stickers go. And I can tell you that this one does actually have all its stickers. And on this side you can see the assembly requirement. We've got the little gun that fits on the front, how to use the grabbing claw, how to attach the canopy, and now we have the final picture with Bosk inside. So this is the CAP-2 vehicle. Now this is quite a strange one. It always reminded me a little bit of a probe droid. It has 2 legs and 2 arms, but these legs, these are suction cups. They're actually very well articulated suction cups, but nonetheless they ain't going to stand up very well on 2 feet. It's really difficult to balance this, especially when you've got figures in. So what I tend to do is balance it on its hands. Makes things a little bit easier. Now these pieces do come off. They're just all connected like that. And you'll notice this bit's a little bit discoloured. This is a different type of plastic and this doesn't discolour quite as much as this one does. On the front we've got this little gun that is on a ball joint, and this is probably the most commonly missing piece on this, as well as this sticker which is also often missing, and that just plugs in there and it's got some great motion. Pretty much point that whatever direction you want. So if we take a look on the top we can see this canopy is pretty yellowing. You generally find that with this toy. It's very difficult to find with a nice clear canopy. And inside there we've got the section where you can stand your figure, and we have another sticker for the controls. Now around the back we've got this little switch, and we've got these claw arms, and they're just spring loaded, and if you want to jam a figure in there, that's how you do it. If we move the arms and legs out the way you can see underneath a little bit better. We've got a sticker for a booster there, and we've also got one there, so that implies it can fly up and it can go across. And we've also got that sticker there, and pretty much the same thing on the other side. So these suction cups, these do actually stick to a solid surface. I used to stick mine to my wardrobe like that and it would pretty much hold itself. If you are going to do that though, I would advise disinfecting it, especially if you're buying one off eBay, because you don't know who's licked that in the past. And we also have this pair of arms at the front. Now this one is a claw and this one is a hook, and pretty much all they come in handy for is doing that. You can use that to grab hold of a figure's leg. I suppose you could do an arm, but it's not going to hold very well. But if you want it to hold up a figure, it is definitely strong enough to do that. So let's put together the little scene from the front of the box. Now it shows Bosk without his gun, sat up like that. If you do put his arms down, you can get him to go in there. and still managed to cover that up. And Bossk is one of the tallest figures in the line. But for the purposes of this, he's going to be stood like that with his arms out. Next up we've got this Hoth Commander, and he is stuck in the back like that. So that's his prisoner. Then we've got those stormtroopers, and if you remember they had the wrong guns, so we'll replicate that. There's one stood there. Then we've got Lord Vader stood there, and then we've got one about there. Doesn't want to stand up, this guy. Oh, he's gone a bit. And we've got one stood at the back, and another one stood about there. So there you go, that is the scene off the box with the vintage figures. So there you go guys, that's the CAP-2 Captivator from The Empire Strikes Back. This has been Luke, thanks for watching.